I was at a really high-end training camp earlier in the summer, and I met a goalie, we'll call him Max, and he moved pretty well in the gym. His torso was strong when we were just doing basic core stabilization exercises, but after the workout, he told me that his coaches told him he needed more speed and more balance on the ice, and so he'd been really working on his core all summer, but he wasn't feeling the results, and he was starting to feel the heat.
It's so damn hot.
Because there was a freshman goalie coming into his team. Maybe you felt the same way. So I made this one little tweak that made all the difference. I'll tell you what it is in a second. And to solve Max's problem, I asked myself, what would the ancient prophets do? I used an ancient training tool. Hippocrates himself used to prescribe it for medicinal purposes. Persian warriors used it to train for strength and power. We went to the good old med ball. Right then and there, I introduced Max to these 2 medicine ball exercises to help work on his dynamic core stabilization. And I'll explain a little bit more about why that's important. But the first in a minute. But the first exercise is inline med ball chop. So that means when I say inline, it means my knee and my foot are in the same line. I can't have my foot out here because that's too stable. It doesn't really challenge my core or my hip stability very much. So we're going to get right in line, and then you're going to chop. So I'm staying stable here, and I'm lifting up, chopping down, chop up, chop down, and I'm pausing each time so that I have a chance to stabilize. Then I'm going to do the opposite angle going the other way, and you'll do 4 each way with each leg forward. So that's the first one I gave to Max.
Blocked rebound, what a save! Spencer Knight!
Then I gave him a med ball knee recovery and rotation to build this habit on the ice of everything moving together. Everything comes together. Our body naturally wants to counter rotate. So if I want to go this way with speed, my body naturally wants to wind itself up a little bit. But taking that extra split second can make you arrive just a little bit after the puck, which is not what we want. So this one will feel quite awkward, but you're going to be strong in your torso. You're going to lead with your head in your hands as you bring that foot up in a knee recovery. So you can see how it pulls you a little bit off balance. You have to work to find that stability. And you'll just do 6 each way. Great idea to wear your goalie knee pads when you do that because it can get a little bit uncomfortable even on the turf.
This is the best. It's Vasilevsky.
That's where I got Max started. I'm interested to hear from you. How do you use a medicine ball? You know that Mitch Korn uses a medicine ball on the ice. I've used a medicine ball on the ice sometimes when I'm working with goalies, and it's a really useful tool. How do you like to use it? Where do you feel you get the most benefit from it? Or what drawbacks do you see when you've tried using a medicine ball in your training? So after we added in those first 2 exercises, Max actually noticed results on the ice within the first week. He was feeling better. He was arriving, feeling more set for the shot is what he said. He just said, I felt like I was ready for that shot when I got there. So that's really great. But I wanted to progress it. Those are pretty basic exercises. So now that he had that foundation, I progressed it with 2 more drills. Now I had him add power in addition to some stabilization to those movements. So we're going to do just a tall kneeling med ball rotary pass. So it's just here. But I'm thinking about keeping a nice strong torso as I do that and generating some of that force through my torso and through a little quick snap of my hips. When I'm kneeling, I don't have as much hip rotation that I can get into. I can't snap my hips around to the same extent as I can when I'm doing like a standing hip block. But I really want it to be just a very quick little impulse. So I'm not really trying to wind up and get a whole ton of rotation. It's just very quick impulses, but feeling that I'm using my torso to quickly generate some of that force rather than just using all arms. So you're not going to be very far away from the wall. You're going to be quite close because, again, it's just a very quick pass, but really trying to get that ball in and out as fast as you can, as hard as you can. No more than 6 repetitions on each side. I gave Max 4 to start, and then we built up to 6.
That is unbelievable.
Then I just added in a big muscle one where he's generating power from his legs and hips and transferring that through his torso, but keeping the pattern quite simple so that he can really put a ton of power behind it. So it's just a lateral step into a med ball pass. And I'm not trying to link these. I want to just get in a nice kind of mid-stance, mid-athletic stance, strong in the torso, and then I'm stepping, so I'm trying not to take a big wind up, stepping into it, stepping into it. And again, generating as much force as I can, as quickly as I can. I'm listening. How loud is this med ball when it's hitting the wall? And for that one, again, we started at 4 repetitions on each side. We built up to 6 repetitions on each side. You won't go more than that because it is a true power exercise. I know the question that you're thinking. I'm sort of like an amateur mind reader in that regard. You're wondering, well, how heavy should the medicine ball be? Or, I've known some of you for so long that I know you're gonna say, well, I'm gonna go grab the heaviest medicine ball I can find at my gym. It's 27 pounds and I'm gonna do those exercises. And so that would be a big mistake. Remember, we are trying to train power. So even though Max was actually a big, strong, tall, college-age athlete, I started him with a 6-pound medicine ball because what we want is the power. And if you think of when you're on the ice, you're not a football lineman who's like wrestling another grown man. You're just moving your body. and yes, you're wearing gear, but we need that quick power. And the medicine ball really gives us something just to stabilize against as we're doing those movements so that our torso has to work a little bit harder. So we started with a 6, but then we pretty quickly moved up to an 8 because his technique looked great. He was generating tons of force. I had him send me some videos so I could see exactly what it looked like before we progressed. I would have no problem of him moving up to 10 and then a 12. I don't think we'd go heavier than a 12 because we don't need to. There's no purpose to it. So I think 6 and 8 is usually where we start off, and then no heavier than 12 for these specific exercises. Remember, I told you at the start of the video that Max actually had a really strong core when we did some of our torso, just like planks, side planks, things like that. Max was really, really good at it. And he'd been following a pretty good off-ice training program. But this shows how just missing one key ingredient can really limit your performance on the ice like it did for Max. Adding in these little special ingredients or tools can be a game changer, just like it was for Max. So you can hit that link in the description to find out how I craft goalie-specific training programs that translate results directly onto the ice. I'll tell you, Max had another problem. and I actually saw it at camp. He sits a little bit when he goes into his butterfly. He sits back in his hips a little bit. So I actually just sent him this exact video, or a link to this exact video. So if that's a problem that you have, or your goalie coach tells you that sometimes you sit back in your hips, check out that video and I give you some ways to fix that as well. Until then, keep putting in the work day in and day out. Everything is earned. Nothing comes for free. Even on the days when you don't sort of feel motivated, do something to make yourself a better goalie. I've got about 1,000 video ideas on how to do that right here on this channel. If you found this video helpful or entertaining or exciting or whatever, don't forget to hit the like button. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.